All right, YouTube. Donald Trump is Time's Person of the Year, as you've seen. This isn't really a surprise, I think. There was a fairly little chance it was going to be Assange, because I think Assange actually was chosen by those that were voting like last year or the year before or something, and he gets sort of kicked off the list by Time's editorial staff, so it wasn't going to be Assange, because that would be too edgy, I guess, for them. Fuckwads. It wasn't going to be Hillary Clinton because, of course, she's a complete loser. It wasn't going to be the Pope because, the left stopped liking him so much after he came out and attacked gay people again. He still props up Marxism. They like that, but they can't stand his idea about, oh, well, we need to forgive women who have abortions and stuff like that. So Trump is the Time Person of the Year. Immediately, people said, oh, yeah, so is Hitler. Oh, yeah, Trump is Hitler. They both drank water. They both waved to crowds. They both, spoke sometimes. That's enough overlap. It's obvious he's the reincarnation of Adolf Hitler or something. It never gets old. It's going to continue for some time. Once Trump's actually inaugurated, when people, I think, see his policies are not Hitler policies, then maybe they will finally give that up. And they'll just go back to what they've been doing with regards to anyone from the Republican Party. They'll just call him Satan instead of calling him Adolf Hitler. That's what they did to Bush and so forth. Now, Bush was a little bit like Satan, or, the Christianized Satan. Especially after he went out onto his ranch and got a bad suntan, started to burn a little bit. Certainly did look a little bit red and crispy. I can just imagine him waving around a pitchfork, dancing around his basement. Then again, I can imagine Hillary and Podesta doing the same thing, probably in a pizza parlor basement or something. I'll be talking about that more in the future, trust me. But yeah, Trump is, to nobody's surprise, the person of the year, but the thing is, those that don't like him, that before, when Time chose who it was, Pope or whatever, and they said, oh yeah, Time is so relevant. Now that it's Trump who's on there, oh, Time is irrelevant, nobody cares. Well, yeah, I don't care because it's part of the same dying legacy media. But it's still a big enough deal to make headline news, at least on legacy outlets. And of course, the underground, like the legacy media, can be drag kicking and screaming to a story if enough underground sites popularize it and make it go viral on social media. The reverse is also true. If the legacy media completely primes the pump on something, yeah, I can get all the underground sites. They'll spin it more, they'll analyze it perhaps with a little bit less intrinsic, corporate or bankster bias, but they're still going to talk about it, so that's really all anyone's talking about right now. He didn't have, though, let's face it, particularly large amounts of competition, and of course the people at Time are like, oh yeah, well, he's fundamentally transformed the face of politics, which even his opponents, even his most heavy-handed critics, don't deny. But it was for the worse, trust us. So it's very, very funny to see them say these things. I'm ambivalent on that issue. I think Trump will do a good job. I hope he does a good job. I have no problem with Trump. That being said, I've made it clear time and time again, I'm not some stalwart fan of his. That mindlessly obeys whatever he says and thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread or something like that. But the better candidate did win. This recount mess is slowly falling apart. The sort of never Trump thing got old months and months ago. It's not going to happen. Now that he's on Time magazine, it probably just further reinforces it. It was funny. Didn't Time or one of these other magazines have a bunch of issues printed up before the election showing Hillary Clinton, like their article if she won, so they could get it out the next day? And a bunch of newspapers did the same thing. Now, granted, what you didn't see is that they also printed up editions for if Trump was elected, but I think they started giving them out to employees or something early because they just sort of assumed based on the polls that it would be Hillary Clinton. First woman president, cracks the glass ceiling for good, and all this nonsense that nobody actually cares about. It's like, yeah, after 8 years of Obama, black people have it so much better in the inner city than before. He cracked the black ceiling, but did anyone but him benefit? No, it was him and Al Sharpton. Those were the only people that did. And them and their goofy buddies there, like, what's his name, Rahm Emanuel, who's hated by his own people, yet for some reason Chicago keeps going blue, despite the fact that he's a total liberal asshole. It's very funny. For Time magazine to do this doesn't really take any particular courage, though, because then they can just justify it. They'll qualify it by saying, of course, he changes the political landscape. Oh, you probably think it's for the worse. Yeah, there's some xenophobia, some homophobia, some evil Nazi nativism and stuff like that, but you can't deny that, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, I'd say he changed the face of politics, not just in this nation. Do you think that the Italian referendum would have gone so heavily against the establishment, maybe, or Hofer would have come in so close to Van der Bellen, or Le Pen would be riding so high as she is now, if not for Trump? Yeah, it's the thing, the Brexit got Trump started, now Trump is getting all this stuff started. It's bouncing back and forth across the pond. It's going to keep going for a while. It's going to reverberate for probably another year or two. So you can look forward to the face of world politics and world society being changed. I say, fundamentally, as long as it's away from globalism, even if it's a patchwork system where some of these countries end up under far left control, some under far right, whatever the case may be, it's better than what we have now. It's better that these nations defend themselves, trade amiably, but at the same time they compete, return to a more free market. We probably won't return to a true free market, but we'll get closer to it than we are now, which would be great, trade war aside. We're finally standing up to China. I think that's a good thing. I think it's good that we're perhaps not as antagonistic towards Russia, but more antagonistic towards China, that we've sort of let get away with murder in the South China Sea. The only time we challenge him is saying, "Oh no, well we don't accept this territorial claim. We're going to sail our cruiser through here." That's all we've done. We haven't done anything else to keep them in check. Meanwhile, we're so worried about Russia that is going literally nowhere because it's surrounded by countries that don't even want to have anything to do with them half the time. So it's very funny to see Time do this. See some people's reactions immediately regressing to the third grade and saying, "Oh, well, Hitler. Yeah, Hitler everything." You'd think that the Nazis won the Second World War the way some of these people speak. That's crazy talk, honestly. That's about all. Peace out.